I truly believe that you win life's lottery when you were born, and especially if you're born in this great country, the United States of America. And for those of us who were not born in the United States, and we are here as citizens of the United States, we too are the fortunate ones. And I happen to fall in that category. I'm a very fortunate American. And I would like to talk to you about the American dream. We all start off with a blank page when we're born. And all parents have hopes and aspirations that their child will live and fulfill their dreams, and they will accomplish all their goals. That's the dream that I have for my child. My page starts off blank. It starts off July 4th, 1963 in Saigon, Viet Nam. My blank page would have looked very different had I stayed in Vietnam versus coming to the United States. My blank page starts with being born in Vietnam, and at the age of 3, I contracted polio. Polio is could be a very deadly disease. It's a virus that attacks and damages your nerves, and it can cause partial or permanent paralysis. And in my case, I have partial paralysis from the knee to my ankle, and I have permanent paralysis from my knee down, and so I wear a leg brace. And so every morning, I put on my leg brace, and I put on my shoes, and I go on my day. And what's great about being in America is my country does not see a handicapped female. My country sees a person with a lot of opportunities and with a lot of aspirations and with a lot of possibilities. My life in Vietnam would have been very different had I stayed there. But because of a brave soldier, an enlisted, brave soldier by the name of George H. Duncan, my life has changed. My father, George, met my mom in a tailor shop and fell in love with her and wanted to marry her and bring my mom and I back to the United States. But before he could do that, he had to go back home because he already served his term. And so he told my mother, he said, I will come back and get you and Lisa and take you back to the States. And so I didn't realize what coming back for the second term of serving in Vietnam really meant, but I do today. And what that really meant is this. As a parent, we would all take a bullet for our child and not think twice. And here, this brave soldier, I call him my quiet hero, because he didn't get medals for what he did. He wasn't a general. He was an enlisted, quiet hero who saved the lives of 2 people from Vietnam. He risked his life every day. He was willing to take a bullet for myself and for my mother every day that he served in Vietnam. He couldn't just go there and say, hey guys, let's go, and we're going back to the States. He had to serve his time there. And every day that he was there, he was willing to take a bullet for me. Just like every soldier that's fighting right now is willing to take a bullet for each one of us so that we can be here with the freedom and the opportunities that we have. So when my mother found out that I had polio at the age of 3, I remember sitting in a vehicle with her, and it was raining, and the only memory I have of the disease was we were sitting in the vehicle, and she looked at me, and she was sad, and she cried. And she said to me, this was after finding out that I had polio, she said, I wish that I could take all the pain from you, and I wish I could take all the pain from you for the rest of your days. And I really didn't know what she meant then because I was only 3 years old. But I do today, because I realize those tears were for my future, because she knew that it was not a bright one. Being a female and being handicapped in Vietnam, my life would have pretty much been just living on the farm. And basically, Being female, I would not have had an education. I would not have gone to school. And being handicapped, I would have not been married off because I would have been considered damaged goods. So my life would have been very different. My page would have looked a lot like this. This was our home at one time. This was our outhouse. And it was across from the house. And we were actually doing pretty well because we actually have an outhouse. And this is how the house looks today. We're pretty uptown because we have one light bulb in the house and a tiny little refrigerator. So here's what my life would have been like. I would have been working on the farm pretty much all my life, no education, and that would have been it. But fortunately for me, that was not the case. We came to America, and the American dream began. And it began with two young people right there that you see, George and Ka Duncan, and a 6-year-old. And they had dreams and aspirations for me. And my life changed in a way that I could never imagine. Because now I was able to live the American dream. I was able to take those opportunities and to do something with them. And my mother said to me, she said, you know, Lisa, we live here in this great country, and there are so many great opportunities for you. I want you to take those opportunities and don't waste it. I want you to live a full life and do everything that you want to do and fulfill those dreams and accomplish those goals. And so I listened to her. And so the American dream began. And what I've learned along the way, here is what the American dream is not. It's not easy. There's many rocky roads along the way. It's a tough road, and it's a long road. It's not cheap. There are many sacrifices along the way. In no way is it cheap. And it's not fast. It takes time. So it's not easy, it's not cheap, and it's not fast. But here's what I know it is. And I call it the 4 Ps. The first one is passion. Passion equals purpose. And if you love what you do, you will conquer everything to fulfill those passions. And if you love what you do and you have a purpose for what you do, it means something and it's valuable. And my passion, well, it's for the American soldiers who fight the wars that protect our country, that gives me the freedom and the opportunities to live my dreams. That's my passion. And so I'm an engineer by trade and an entrepreneur at heart. And I've used those trades to do the best that I can to support our soldiers. And in doing so, my husband and I started our own business, an engineering firm, and it's our way and it's my way of giving back and supporting our soldiers. And my passion is also to encourage and to pass on the possibilities of this great country. It's an awesomeness that we have here in this country, and I treasure it. And so the first one is passion, and the second one is persistence. You have to be persistent. You have to keep going when others stop. You have to keep going when it's tough. And you have to keep going when you think, I can't go anymore. You know, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. And so that persistence has to be there. And the third P is perspiration. I mean, I think that's the one we hear the most about, and that is you've got to just work and you've got to keep at it. When you're tired, you've got to keep at it. You know, Paul talked this morning about, you know, even as an entrepreneur, when you're on vacation, you're not really on a vacation. You still think about the work. And the first thing you do in the morning is you think about the work. You think about the business. You know, it's that perspiration. It's that keep the work going. Keep going and don't stop. And the fourth P is practice. Now, I've heard all my life, practice makes perfect. But what I've learned along the way is it's deliberate practice. If we practice the wrong thing all the time, we're perfect at doing the wrong things. So it's about deliberate practice. We have to learn what is the right way to do it and how should we do it. And then we practice it that way. And when we put our passion and the persistence to carry on and the perspiration of the work that we're not willing to give in, and we keep practicing what we want to go for, that's what the American dream is. It's those things. I'm an Army brat, but I would tell you one of my favorite quotes is from the Marines. I like their motto, and it's improvise, adapt, and overcome. Because like I said, the road is long, and sometimes it's not easy, so sometimes you have to adapt, and you have to improvise in order to overcome. And I remember this because I think about things like, I can't be a basketball player. I'm too short and I can't run very fast. But I could own a basketball team. So I've learned to improvise, adapt, and overcome. And I've learned that, another example is my polio. I would tell you, 99% of my days, I don't even know I have the polio because I've learned to improvise and adapt and overcome it. And many of us are going to have tough times where we have to learn to do the same thing. We've got to use that motto because you don't want to stop what you're doing. You don't want to quit. You want to keep going. So the American dream lives on. I'm living it. And every day that I live, I take those opportunities and I go with it and I do something with it because I can. Because I think about if I were still in Viet Nam, I wouldn't be able to do those things. I would be living on a farm, farming. Instead, I'm here in this great country and I'm living my dream of being an entrepreneur and having my own business and making the differences that I can, and to be inspired by people and to do the same when I can. And so the American dream continues with Tyler. When we're kids, we think about, we can be professional baseball players. And he thinks about being a hockey player, an NHL, or he could be an entrepreneur, he could be a doctor, he could be a lawyer, he can be what he chooses to be. Because we tell our kids, and we're told, in America, you can do anything you want to. I would tell you in Vietnam, there are very few parents telling their children, you can do and be whatever you want to be when you grow up. It's not the case there, but it is here. And Tyler's going to live the American dream. He's going to have those opportunities. But it doesn't stop with a child. It can be someone in their 20s, 30s, 70s. The American dream is for all of us. And I tell you firsthand because I'm living it. I'm so fortunate to be here living it. So the rules of the American dream, there are only two. The first one is to do it because it's worth it and because you have the opportunity. Take it, don't waste it. And the second rule, the only way to fail in America is to quit. So I say, do it, live it, conquer it, take it because it's yours, and live and inspire and dream and have that American dream because it's available to you. Thank you.